Welcome back to the FloTrack podcast. We're already laughing. It's going to be a fun one today. I'm Lincoln Shrike, joined by Gordon Mack, and we're delighted to be joined by 110-meter hurdles world champion Grant Holloway. Grant, have you been playing more Call of Duty than you ever had in your life during this period of coronavirus?
A lot of Call of Duty, a lot. More than usual. Usually when I travel, I try not to bring the system with me, just because you don't want that distraction to be a problem for when you're trying to focus in and lock in on hurdles. But there's no hurdles races coming soon. It's just one of the things. I've been playing a lot of competitive play. Today I just finished scrims. So really right now it's just one of the things where, you sit back, relax, work out those fingers, and you go to practice when you practice.
I
have
saw
a
a thing.
question.
I don't know if it's. Go for
sorry.
it, Gordon. Jeez,
I have a
jumping
question
in.
about. I just have a question about video games. Obviously, your career is 110-meter hurdling, and you're at the top in the world in your career. Being so good at one thing in your world, how good are you in the video game aspect of your world? And does it bother you that you're not the world champion in video games because you know what it's like to be, in the top tier of a thing in your life?
I definitely think it's one of the things like you try to get as good as you can. But a fun fact about esports, like they train. Well, I mean, not say train. They play about 14 to 16 hours a day. You know, I'm only on the game for about 3 hours max. So it's just one of the things, you sit back and you kind of like you take it to a sense, but then at the same time you don't take it to a sense because you're not getting the time and everything like the normal person is. So like you kind of just take it with a grain of salt. However good you are, you're good. With me, I play with a lot of my friends. I play with the track community. So as long as I'm the best in the track community, I'm really good. As long as I'm the best with my friends that are playing, I'm fine. And then like we'll do scrims against other. I'll put out on Twitter if you guys see sometimes. Like I'll put out who wants to run a 4v4 match, my squad versus your squad, and we kind of just take it with a grain of salt and see what really happens. But at the end of the day, I know I'm not going to be the best. I mean, I watch some of the Major League Gaming matches. They are moving swifter than swift. So it's just one of the things, you sit back and you're like, damn, I wish I could do that.
Well, if it wasn't clear already from your glass of wine, it is happy hour. We're recording this 5 p.m. on a Wednesday. What are you drinking there, Grant?
I'm drinking a red Bordeaux. This one was given to me by a good friend of mine named Ed. Shout out to Ed. I appreciate it. This is a great glass. But I've always been the one to drink wine, leading up to NCAAs, leading up to Worlds, after Worlds, before Worlds. You name it, I most likely had wine either the day before or a couple hours before.
Are you a collector or just a drinker? Like, how do you partake in
I would
the
say
the
I'm
vino?
a drinker. Yeah, I would say I'm a drinker. I don't really collect wine unless it's like, you go to like Paris or, you go somewhere where wine is really big. But my wine collection is decent. I'm not going to sit here and say I have the best wine collection and known the man because I just started drinking wine more so towards the end of my junior year at Florida. That's when I really started getting into wine. And then afterwards, as a housewarming gift, as people will say, I got about 4 good bottles of wine that I really enjoyed. So it's something that I love to get into, love the taste of it, and it's way better than liquor. And you can't do weed, so it's just one of the things you sit back
That's
on
true.
and you ponder about.
One fun things that track communities sometimes get involved with when it comes to like extracurricular activities with alcohol, there's beer miles. Have you thought about trying to think of a hurdle wine competition for yourself?
Never once in my life. I sit back, I say what I have to say. You guys decrypt it like you guys always do. Sometimes I'm the good guy, sometimes I'm the bad guy. But hey, life is always good when you're smiling and you can joke around with that stuff.
How are you feeling right now with the season, basically on pause? How are you missing track and field big time? Is this a fun phase for you? Like what's going on in your life?
Yeah, this is definitely a fun phase for me. I haven't had a vacation, or let me not say vacation. I haven't had time off like this since my junior year in high school. You know, and that was really just because I was hurt and I wasn't able to compete postseason. So I just started getting ready for football. But like this time, I've been really happy. Got a lot of stuff done around the house. Got a lot of things done on the game. Got a lot of things done with Rose Gang, my T-shirt company. Um, it's been everything has been great. I'm very happy. Um, got a call from Adidas saying that if they're having meets, they would like me to run. So that's a positive. It's everything is just lining up, and it's just one of the things. You sit back and you say, all right, if this is the only thing that I have to complain about, then life is good.
Are there any
to take it?
thoughts? Like taking this long break. Obviously, you come off of Worlds. You're at the peak of your career at that moment in your career, and you kind of want to ride that momentum into an Olympic year. Is there a part of you that kind of wishes you would have had an Olympic year this year because you're kind of rolling on all cylinders, and now having to take a whole year break, you might not be as, at your peak performance to where you were in the end of that 2019 season?
Yeah, I wouldn't say this is necessarily my peak as an athlete, but like I would love to have that momentum roll into 2020. I think any person who did really good at World Champs or who got a medal at World Champs, they're most likely favored to get a medal again at the Olympics. That's just how the track and field community works. But I wouldn't say I'm at the peak of my season, but I would definitely say I'm getting closer to my prime years. So a lot of people have been asking me, are you upset about the Olympics not happening? Are you okay with the Olympics? How do you feel about it? And I say I'm perfectly fine. Like, I was 21 when I won my first gold medal. I'll be 23 at my first Olympics. I mean, I'll take all of that with a grain of salt, keep it moving, keep it chugging. And then when 2021 pulls up, I'm gonna be ready, just like I always am.
The country recently has been reckoning with the way that institutions have and individuals have treated African Americans in this country for a long time. And I know you participated in the Sports Illustrated article kind of talking about your experiences with racism and talking about your response maybe going forward in the sport. And one part caught my eye in particular, and it said that you said that you planned on wearing an I Can't Breathe shirt before meets when you warm up. Can you elaborate a little bit more about why that's important for you?
I would necessarily say it's important just because it's been an ongoing thing. For me to see everything that's been happening, not just with me personally, but just around the world. And it's 2020 right now. I think let's just go back to when my parents were around that time. Let's just go back to 1980. You're still fighting those same problems back in 1970, 1980, even 1990, the decade that I was born, and like we're still fighting all the same problems to this day. So like now it's, you got to sit back and ask yourself, like, what are we doing as a nation? What are we doing as individuals? And like, what can we do to bring notice or bring ideas or anything of that nature to boost the awareness and the rights of people. Like, I mean, like, for example, you got Colin Kaepernick. He was kneeling down, I think, help me out with the year, 2004, 13, 12?
17, I believe.
2007?
17.
Oh, 17. Okay, good. I was about to be like 2007. But no, so 2017, you got that. Colin Kaepernick he started it all off. So, you're pushing that stuff out for him. And then he gets kicked out of the league. And now it's 2020, and you got Roger Goodell giving him a public apology for things that he was trying to bring notice to. It's so many people, and not just Colin, but like, other athletes. We can use LeBron James. You can use any basketball player because they really did a great job, in my opinion, of doing that. But like, you got so many people trying to bring notice to the thing, and for me to see the George Floyd thing firsthand, it really took a toll on me, emotionally, physically, mentally. All three aspects of where you need to live your life. It really took a toll on me. So like for 48 hours, I was really down and out. I mean, so now I try to boost myself back forward. Like I think I said I took 2 days off, and then I put the George Floyd video up when he was basically saying, he just finished working out. Right now, he's just giving back. He's sharing. So like, that's where I felt like I was. Like I felt like I was sharing my whole life, sharing my experience, sharing my emotions, my lifestyle, everything that I do of making people smile and making them feel wanted and happy. That it's time to focus on something realer, something bigger than myself. So yeah, I said that I would like to wear I Can't Breathe shirt. I really haven't talked it over with anybody. I haven't really. I don't want to necessarily say I haven't thought about the consequences, but at the end of the day, it's like you have to stand up for what is right for your for you and your morals and everything that you live by, and that's definitely something that I prayed about. I talked to my father and my mother about. It's just something that you really want to be able to take a stand and make a difference, not even in the sport of track and field, but just around the world.
Given the kind of the way the Olympic movement has discussed protesting in the past, and recently, they had said like, oh, we're not going to tolerate protesting. And now this movement kind of generates that and really brings to the forefront of what protesting is about and what it can mean for certain individuals. I'm wondering if you have personally thought about kneeling, what your opinion of it is, and if it has changed throughout the maybe throughout the years or whatever. And I know what it means. And the reason I ask you specifically is I think back to your podium moment in Doha last year where you saluted.
Exactly.
What is your thinking right now about kneeling during an anthem?
Yeah, so me personally, I can't speak for the rest of the track and field community or anybody else, but my dad served 22 years in the military. He was deployed about 4 or 5 times that I can remember. Deployed for 2 months, deployed for 8 months, back to 4 months, maybe two again, maybe 10 here. And, that really took a toll on me, as I was growing up, because at the time, all I had was my mother. But now, me personally, I will say I will never kneel. And it's not bring notice to, things like George Floyd or police brutality or the injustice in the justice system. You got so many things that you can kneel about, but my dad served 22 years in the Navy so I could live my life to the fullest, so I can live my life to talk to you guys, so I can live my life to do whatever I want to do on the track, to say whatever I want to say during press conferences. The list can go on and on. My dad did that so I can live my life to the fullest. So I feel like if I kneel, that is a smack in the face to my father. And that's something that I would never want to do. One, because my dad is 10 times stronger than me. And he'll beat my ass. And then two, that's just another thing. Like, I can't see myself doing it because my dad has done so much for me as an individual. And like I said, I can't speak on everybody else, but me as an individual, my father has done so much for me that if I do kneel, my dad better be kneeling right beside me, because if he does it, then I know it's okay. It's one of the like role model type of things, but I can never say I'm going to kneel because of what my dad does to me. And it goes back to when I saluted back in Doha. It wasn't to say anything about the justice system, police brutality, or anything of that nature. It was because my dad has done so much for me so that I can live my life to the fullest. So I'm able to go to Doha. I'm able to use this platform of track and field as a job and get paid and travel the world with my legs. There's so many things that you can really say. But my dad is the reason why I saluted in Doha. And it's just one of the things, I'm very, very happy to sit here and say that I can do that, because not everybody, one, has a father figure in their life. And then two, they can say that they have a father figure in their life that he's in the military. So that is the background of what I believe in with my father and everything else that he has raised me to do.
But your view of fellow athletes that would kneel, I mean, do you view that positively, or how do you see, others maybe that hadn't gone through those experiences? How do you view?
I definitely see it as a positive input. I don't really see it as a negative, because everybody wants to bring attention to the problem that's going on, and it's not just for us. It's not just for, their well-being or saying, oh, everybody else is doing it, let me hop on the bandwagon. It's just more so saying, like, look, this is what's been going on in the world. Whether you like it or not, we're bringing attention to it. We're not gonna keep putting it underneath the rug. We're not gonna keep trying to brush it away. It's either you're with us or you aren't. You gotta pick a side. That's the biggest thing right now.
I guess I'll go. We're trying to figure out how to do the two people interviewing one person dynamic.
It's always
Y'all
a tough
some
one.
fools,
Maybe Grant, what you can do is you can call on us. Be like, all right, Gordon, you're next, or they can go back and forth.
Don't let
how
me
this
start doing
works.
that. Y'all gonna be really fucked up.
I do have a kind of a lighthearted question about some track performances that have happened recently. Carson Warhol. I know you hate this conversation. You hate being asked about what you could
So
run
then
a
why you
400
gonna
meter
bring it
hurdle
up?
in.
Why you gonna bring it up?
Yeah.
Because that I know you hate it, but this isn't a 400 meter hurdle
He said
question.
that I gotta do it. It's my job. It's my job to be the asshole.
This is a 300 meter hurdle question. So Carson Warhol broke the world record in the 300 meter hurdles. Now I know you have the 400 meter talent, you have the hurdle talent. Now it's not a 400 meter hurdle. It's 75% of that. Do you think you could break the 300 meter hurdle record?
I think if I train for any event, I think I have the possibility of breaking any world record. I believe in myself. I believe in my talent. But to answer your question, I believe if I train for that event, give me 4 years, 5 years, maybe, I think I will be able to do it. Not knocking Carson Warhol or any other 400 hurdler. I just believe. I believe in myself. I believe in my talent, and I think I'm able to conquer anything that I put my mind to.
I know you get because you're such a talent and you can run a 60, you can win the NCAA title in the flat 60, you can run top times in 200, 400, and you get this question about like, hey, what can you do in this event or that event, high jump, long jump, all that stuff. Is there anything that you could do in your career in the 110 hurdles that would make you want to, in the second half or final 25% of your career, to switch a primary event? If you achieve everything, you break the world record in the 110s, you win multiple gold medals, like what would it take for you to put all the Grant Holloway effort in a second event?
I think exactly what you said. I think the main goal, of course, next year is Olympics, and then right after the Olympics, you have World Champs, and then right after World Champs, what year was that? 21 then 22. Oh, we're off 22. No, we can't be off 22. I don't know the schedule.
23
They said it's about
23 in
you got
Budapest.
5 years or something like that.
5 straight years, yeah.
Yeah, 5 straight years. So yeah, let's say everything goes right those 5 straight years. I have no problem going to any event. At that point, if I have solidified myself as one of the best hurlers in the world, which I want to do so bad because it's just so much talk and so much of this of he can't do. I love proving people wrong. I just love it. But the thing is, it's just like you said. My goal is to be one of the best hurlers to walk the planet. So my focus right now is on 110 hurdles. Yes, okay, I do everything I have to do. Yeah, I have no problem going to a 400 hurdles, back to the long jump. Figuring out how to run a 200. I don't really know how to run a 200 clearly. We saw that this year. But, just figuring out ways to get better and, just to make my brand wider and bigger as we can.
You did mention
Carson Warhol oh God.
All right, Lincoln.
No.
Yeah, Link. See, he's calling me out. One sec. I feel like Carson Warhol rivals your energy. He's like one of the rare guys on the line that you can tell he's like amped to go and excited and like brings that post race energy. Kind of like, and he reminds me of you. What do you have you paid a lot of attention to him? Have you watched him? Like, what do you think of his technique and the way he handles himself?
He is one hell of an athlete. I think he definitely wears his heart on his sleeve. I remember his first time running in 2017 London. He was facing two of my good friends, TJ Holmes and Karan Clement. And, just to see him, how pumped he was before, how pumped he was after. I definitely love his energy. And, it's something that me personally, I love. I feed off of that stuff. With that being said, I definitely do think that is one of the reasons why he is so great. He brings the energy to the sport. He brings the energy not even to 400 hurlers, but just to everybody in general. He is just one of those athletes that you look forward to watching run.
Now can you call me? Yeah.
Go ahead, Gordon.
Well, you mentioned you mentioned in an interview a few months ago. I know. I'm keep on doing the same thing. I'm asking you questions that you probably don't want to hear. But like, how can we get? How can
why are we here? Why are we here? Why do you do that then? If you know I don't want to hear it, and you know I'm gonna give you attitude about it, why continue to ask the question? It's the same thing at Doha where you were like, "Did you hear about Daniel?" Okay, fuck me. What about my race?
Yeah.
Did you see me run? I don't understand why you do that. I think you just know you're like, all right, Grant's going to give me a little rant. I can deal with it then, and then I'll ask him the same question over again.
Yeah. Well, have I ever asked you any questions while you were at Florida during a press conference when you were like, I see what you're trying to do, you're trying to start controversy? I apologize if that's what I've done in your 3 years of Florida.
Absolutely.
I think you have.
Well, if you want to know the honest truth, before every NCAA press conference, my whole goal is to figure out a question to ask to an athlete or to a coach that is something of interest to get someone riled up in a positive or negative way. And you're a great person bouncing board off of that.
That's great. That's great. Get me riled up on stage. I think that's the best thing.
Because you've been to those press conferences. Those press conferences are boring. They are just like snore fests. And I think
I say what I gotta say then. You think this is all an act? You guys make the thing so much. You guys make it boring. So it's my job as an athlete and as Grant Holloway. It's like, all right, let's add some pump into this interview.
Yeah.
My fault. Gordon, go ahead. Finish the question. You can ask me anything you want today. You can ask me anything you want.
I just want to know, like, how can you get yourself in the door to be on the 4x1 or on the 4x4 or on the co-ed 4x4 on the whatever?
I can actually sit here. I can sit here and fight for this one. That is not on me at all. That is up to USATF, a huge politics system that I was told to stay out of. At the end of the day, they saw me run the 60. They saw me run my 110 hurdles race. They saw me break the collegiate record with Florida with Hakeem Sonny Brown, Raymond Akeru, and Ryan Clark. I'm pretty sure everybody saw what happened in Austin. As an athlete, as Grant Holloway, and as Mike Holloway can say, you guys can ask him whenever you want. He said, stay out of it. I'm not going to waste my energy. I'm not going to waste my time on anything. Because Coach Holloway clearly said, if Grant makes the team, I don't care what event you use him for, as long as it's after his 110 hurdle final. He said he did not care. Now, why they went with the relay they did to break the American record, I don't know. Why they went with the people to do the prelim round, I don't know. I don't know none of that. I was told to stay out of it. So I'm going to sit here with my nice glass of wine, and I'm going to continue to talk to you.
Yeah,
well,
obviously you're it's political, and like there's like athletes want this, that, and like, hey, everyone is trying to like wants a spot, whatever, and then another person comes in and it's like, but I think about it, if they're willing to throw Ry Benjamin on that 4x4, they should be willing to throw Grant Holloway on that 4x1. That's what I think, right?
Political. I'm glad you think that, but like I think me and your opinions are like if this is the highest, I'm like right here, let's bring it all the way down here. We're not even on the stream. They don't care about us.
Well, for it's kind of for bad reasons, but there is a chance that one spot opens up, and I'll use that for the 4x1, and I'll use that to transition. I'm sure you heard about the Christian Coleman news today that he's facing a suspension, got a provisional suspension for whereabouts failures. I want to ask you a two-part question. One, like what you think of the news overall, and three, just what your experience is with filing your whereabouts and being at your drug testing spot, for your window, and just your experience with all the drug testing bodies in track and field. Is it a hard thing to follow? Is it frustrating? I know that's a long-winded way, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are.
No. Yeah. For me, my heart, my energy, my everything in me goes out to Christian Coleman, because one, he's been fighting this even before Worlds. I mean, let's just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. Nasser from Bahrain is finding the same thing. I don't know if she is suspended or not, but like the biggest thing is you got that. I think people fail to remember that Christian Coleman is a person. Grant Holloway is a person. Omar McLeod is a person. Lincoln and Gordon, both of you guys are people. People
Fair
fail to
enough,
realize that we're more than athletes. Like, we all are human. I mean, it's been plenty of times, and I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the best person. I haven't missed a drug test. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. But like, it's been plenty of times where my window says 9 o'clock, and I was out to eat with either friends, family. I haven't been exactly where my whereabouts said, and I have lucked up and they haven't came and drug tested me. It's been plenty of times where I have gone out of town. I mean, let's just use it. Last week, for example, my mom had hernia surgery, so I had to take an emergency flight back home, make sure she was good, and I had to come back. That whole weekend, I didn't fill out my whereabouts until literally I got on the plane when I got on the plane coming home. I'm like, oh, I didn't fill out my whereabouts. Let me do this now to let them know I'm not here. I'm not going to sit here and say, Christian should have done this, Christian should have done that. But at the same time, it's like people fail to remember that we're humans. We all make mistakes. I mean, I can't name one person that has been perfect in 2020. I mean, let's just, or 2019 or 2018. We can just go all the way back to when I was born back in 1997. I have not been perfect. So I don't think if all the facts line up with Christian and they say what they say, I don't think Christian should be penalized because, they have to remember that he's human. I think I read that he was Christmas shopping around the time, and he was with family and friends, and stuff didn't go exactly as it was said. I don't want to weigh in too much on this comment because I don't want quotes being pointed back to me or people saying Grant said this or Grant did that. But it's just one of the things. We're all human. We all make mistakes. If USADA or whoever drug tested him at the time made a mistake by not filling out their whereabouts, saying that they were at the right location, it's okay. Like, man up. Life is going to go on with or without it. So it's just one of the things. You gotta just remember that we're all athletes. We all going to make mistakes, and then at the same time, it's one of the things that it's not hard when you have so many constant reminders. I have my agent send me plenty of stuff. I have my mom check in on me. I have my dad check in on me. It's just one of the things, it has to be done for the sport to be the way it is. It has to be done.
Well, isn't that saying it has to be done? I mean, isn't that an argument for, you said we make mistakes, but playing devil's advocate here, you're allowed 3 mistakes here, or you're allowed 2 mistakes, and then the third one is you
Right.
strike out there. Isn't that saying we got to have people accountable? You're saying my agent helps, my mom helps. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know Christian
shouldn't all
Coleman
athletes
support
be
system.
accountable for that? Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely 100% agree with you. I don't know Christian Coleman support system, but shit, I consider Christian one of my brothers. I consider Christian one of my close friends. I can consider Christian, a role model to me. So I mean, I can take the fall for Christian for not saying like, hey, make sure you fill out your whereabouts. I mean, it can go on and on to close friends, the family, the agents, to even the people with Christian Coleman at Nike. It's just one of the things that it can be folded so many different ways. But at the end of the day, like, I guess I've never gotten to this point. I don't want to get to this point, but if the rules say three strikes and you're out, then 3 strikes and you're out. But like, at the same time, if the referee isn't playing to the rules of the rule book, then you got different propositions to weigh in on.
This is coming from a person who never had to deal with this because I'm not a professional athlete. They're not worried about testing my pee, as far as I know. But you have this perspective of being in it as an elite athlete, being tested multiple times. And I think the people on the sidelines can be like, it's so simple. Tell them where you are at 6 a.m. every day, and it's easy, right? And you talk about how like it is easy to have like a mental lapse, like you said, where you might, I forgot. Oh, shoot. Like the same way we sometimes forget, we leave our locker keys in the car, or, you forget to, get gas in time before you leave for work, all these type of small mental mistakes. with that said, do you think the system that it is currently structured as has too many opportunities for honest humans to make simple like brain fart mistakes, and that maybe there's a new way that we can keep people accountable without this whole like gotcha 3 strikes you're out program?
Yeah. I haven't been. I'm gonna try to kind of shy away from this question as much as I don't really want to, but I haven't been in the system long enough to see exactly how this works. You know, I've been in the NCAA system where it's easy to say, "Oh, at the end of this meet, Grant, we're going to make sure we get you. We're going to take you to the bathroom, watch you pee in this cup, and we're going to let you be on your way." The NCAA system is easier versus USADA, who you can dope anytime in the whole 24 hours of the day. It's just one of the things it's. I think it's harder to as athletes to remember exactly what we're doing. That's like saying, "Hey, I want to go over to Lincoln's house today, this afternoon." All right, USADA needs to know exactly where I'm at, where I'm going, and doing that. I think as humans, you don't have to report to nobody, or especially as adults. I mean, my thing is, if you pay taxes, you're considered an adult. But like, if I wanted to come over to Lincoln's house today, right? They don't need to know exactly where I'm at, what time I'm going to get there, what time I'm going to be back home. Because if you say, "Oh, I feel like my whereabouts every single time," and then it's just one of the things where it's like, okay, like, I understand you're doing that, but like, if I wanted to go to my friend's house, I don't think I need to even tell my mother that I'm going to my friend's house. It's like, "Hey, Mom, I'm at Bobby's house. Let me call you right back." "Okay, baby, call me back." It's one of the things where it's just, as adults, you don't check in with so many people unless it's like, someone who you talk to every day or you're in need of.
But is that the obligation of a track athlete, though? It's like you're special caliber. You get to go to the Olympics. You get to do. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I get that, and I live totally free, and so I can't even pretend to empathize with, what you guys have to go through with that. But isn't it like you get this chance to win this gold medal? You've got to tell everyone where you're going constantly. I mean, isn't that your obligation if you get to represent USA and try to win these medals?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying as well, but I still believe it's twofold. It's kind of hard to weigh in on this whole situation when you're not the person who's being penalized for it. I can sit here and say, "Oh, Christian's safe, Christian's good," and then the other side of me can say, "Oh, Christian needs to be banned, he needs to get out of here." Especially if I was going against Christian 100, I'd be like, "Yeah, ban him, get him out of here." You know what I mean? But it's just one of the things where you got to sit back and you got to realize, like, we're all human, and like, I understand if the rules were broken, the rules were broken, but also if the rules weren't broken and you guys are trying to get a man out of the Olympics, I mean, he'd be a 2-time Olympian, but it's just one of the things where, like, we got to reevaluate ourselves, not just as individuals, but as a company, as a brand, as an agency, on what is going on in the world. And like I said, Christian is one of my good friends. I really, fully, truly respect Christian. And Doha, he gave me a lot of words of wisdom. Even throughout the season when I was, running at Florida, he was texting me every other month, checking in on me. So like, I have a lot of love and respect for Christian, but at the same time, I don't want to sit here and, pick a side where I don't really know all the details and the facts. So that's why all my answers have been kind of like cookie cutter answers, just because I don't want to pick sides and I don't know the full story. I wasn't there. I didn't really hear word of mouth. This is all Christian story versus USADA story. So I don't really want to pick sides, and I don't know exactly what happened.
Grant, are you going to race this year?
That's a great question. I don't know.
I got a great question. Look at that. I got a great question. You don't know?
No. So right now, as you guys know, some meets are lining up in August. You got the Monaco meet, you got the Budapest meet, you got the Turku meet, you got so many. You got the Impossible Games, I think, unless that already happened. I don't know.
Yeah,
but you got so many meets.
Yeah.
It already happened.
Yeah. Impossible.
Okay, so
Inspiration is next. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got all these meets lined up in August, but us as Americans, with everything going on, as everybody know, between the protesting, between the coronavirus, between our president. We have a lot of stuff going on, so our travel ban is still on. So as much as I can say I want to go to all these meets, but if that travel ban isn't lifted, I'm not going nowhere. So it's kind of like a waiting game. It's you wait and see what's going to happen, and you figure out what to do next. So I live my weeks week by week, and as the time moves forward, I'll have my decision. 2 weeks, a week out before anything happens.
So you're still training, like there's a opportunity if the door opens, you'll walk through it? Like, because sometimes people are like, I'm shutting it down for the year. Like you have yet to officially announce that you're going to shut it down. You're keeping it open.
I haven't shut down even when the coronavirus hit and when this was indoor season for indoor nationals. I was still training. I was still getting my mileage in. I've been training at a public track with Coach Holloway 4 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week. We've been getting it in and making it all happen. But it's just one of the things where, my motto has always been stay ready so you don't have to get ready. With that being said, I'm going to stay ready so I don't have to get ready.
I'm not sure, another kind of side question. I'm not sure if you saw, but the Florida governor signed a law or whatever that Florida NCAA athletes can make money off their likeness starting summer of 2021. Obviously, this is after you've already done your time at Florida. But if you could have a time machine and be able to start school over in year of 2022, how do you think your years at Florida would have been different if you would have been able to profit off your name, image, and likeness?
Don't think it would have changed too much. If you're asking me would I go back in time, no. I enjoyed the way I matured. I enjoyed the way I came up. I enjoyed everything between touching Fred Curley before 4x4s, taking pictures with Edward Cheserek my freshman year. It's so many things that I wouldn't want to change. I'm just going to sit here and, at the end of the day, I made it out. I got a good living. I made it out. So I'm not really too pressed about, making money off my name, off my likeness. As long as my mom is happy, my dad is smiling because he doesn't really smile too much. And, everything around me is functioning and working, I can make everything else work out.
But would you have would you have maybe stayed in school longer or shorter? I don't know. Cause you could because the thing about track athletes is as soon as you accept prize money, you can't be an NCAA athlete anymore, or as soon as you do anything. But here you can stay in an NCAA system longer and be able to take the benefits of being on the international circuit as well. You kind of can take hand from both sides of the cookie jar. And I just look at you as an example because if you think of multiple track athletes, how is it going to affect them? It's people who can make most money are going to be athletes of your type of caliber, of your type of brand recognition. And, the triple jumper from the Missouri Valley Conference 3rd place finisher isn't probably going to be making money, but someone who is breaking NCAA records would.
Yeah. Like I said, I wouldn't go back in time because I enjoyed everything I did at Florida. But then at the same time, I don't really think me making money was the big deal for me. I think I was really just doing for my love for track and field. I was just doing that for pure joy, not for money, not to make it overseas, not to boost and say I got more jersey sales than Tim Tebow. It was just everything that I did at Florida was for the simple love for the sport of track and field. And if you ask someone else that, maybe they might have gone back in time, but personally, me, I enjoyed everything that happened, and I would never, go back in time to flip that, because you go back in time and flip that, you might not have anything that you have now in 2019, 2020.
One thing I wanted to set the record straight, just make sure. You said famously after your world title that you wanted to find a big ass glass of wine. and of course we were in Doha where alcohol is not at all prevalent. Did you in fact find wine that night after you won a world title?
Of course.
Yeah. How did you do that? How'd you pull that off?
You go to a bar, you sit down, order some food, and you tell them to bring you out 2 glasses of wine, and you just combine them together. There's your fat ass glass of wine.
There you go. There you go. That I needed that. I need the records straight on that because I never quite had that one. Set. You know, Graham. Obviously, we talked about like what your goals are. We know Olympic title is next, but what are you trying to improve like right now? Obviously, you know, you're a guy that said, "Oh, I always need to improve," even when I run 12:98, even when I won a world title. But is there a particular focus right now in practice with you and Coach Holloway about like technique or attitude? Like what is it that you're trying to get right?
It's just every day, you know, you go out there to be the best hurler that you can be. I'm not trying to be Aries Merritt. I'm not trying to be David Oliver, Jeff Porter, Omar McLeod, Sergey Shabankov, Orlando Ortega. I'm trying to be the best Grant Holloway ever to walk the planet. And I was on a Zoom call actually with Alan Johnson and Curtis Fry about, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, either last week or 2 weeks ago. And Alan was talking, Alan was, just talking about his time as, one of the premier hurlers for Team USA. And he was just talking and talking and talking. And one thing that stood out to me was the relationship he always had with a coach. Coach Fry always had his back. Of course, we're all human. We're not going to see eye to eye. But, like, I'm really just focusing on building my relationship with not only Coach Holloway, but my training partners between Kyra Jefferson, Hakeem Sonny Brown, TJ Holmes, Eric Futch, Devin Quinn from Illinois is training with us here at University of Florida. It's just so many people that you can really, just really think about. And, it's just one of the things now where you kind of say, it's, in order to get better at track and field, you gotta, build the relationships at the track, and then also you gotta build the relationship with your coach. And that was really the biggest thing that Alan Johnson stuck out with me. He was like, my relationship I had with my coach was at 100% every single day. Of course, we're not going to see eye to eye, we're human, but every single day he brought out his A game, and I had to bring out mine. And if I didn't, he told me to go home and we'll try again tomorrow. And as an athlete, no athlete wants to be told to go home. So I'm really just been working on my relationship with Coach Holloway. Not really, we're focusing on technique. Well, of course, we're focusing on hurdle technique, but really just building a relationship each and every day and figuring out ways to, get better as coach and athlete, not just as a hurdler.
Does anything change with the dynamic between you and Coach Holloway now that you're not a Florida Gator? Is there like a switch that changes the way he interacts with, all the post-grad guys versus people who are still running for the university? Have you noticed any change at all?
No, me personally, I haven't experienced no change. Oh, excuse me. I haven't experienced no change, but it was really just one of the things where I get a little bit of more one-on-one time. As a college athlete, he has to worry about the 4x1. He has to worry about the 400 guys, the 1-2 guys, the hurdlers, girls and guys to add on to all that. So, like, in my eyes, I feel like I'm getting more time because now he's just focusing on me, Andrew Riley, and Eddie Lovett at a certain hour. And then he goes to go focus on Devin Quinn, Hakeem Sonny Brown, Kyra Jefferson. And then he has time to go focus on Eric Futch, TJ Holmes, Kia Seymour. Everybody in our group always gets some, if not all, of Coach Holloway's undivided attention. I know Coach Holloway is getting prepared to move to a new house. I'm really looking forward because I kind of put this on him. I said I wanted to do film on Fridays, so we have Film Fridays now, which we weren't able to have, in college. So, like, now I'm able to go to his house every Friday, watch film, figure out what we need to work on for the next week coming up, and then we're able to, get better. I think that's really going to be a huge factor on how I get better.
Film Fridays at the Holloway sounds fun.
Yeah. Well, so you said Coach Holloway's got move into a new house, and then you mentioned a housewarming earlier. You said, do you have a new house? Am I hearing that?
I have a new house, yes, and Coach Holloway is moving into a new
Oh,
house.
yeah,
I got an
yeah, of
apartment
course. No,
living.
yeah. No, I wasn't getting. I didn't think you were moving in with Coach Holloway. As close as you guys
Oh
are, I
no,
knew you wouldn't do
I
that.
wish.
But what's it? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it? How's the life in the house? Is it lonely? Like, you
Life
got
in the
anybody
house
living there with
is
you?
Nah, it's just me. I have I got a little. I got a not little, but he is little to us. But I got a black lab. He's hanging in there. He's bored probably half the time because I'm barely home or I'm doing something or I'm playing the game usually. But we it, life in a house has been different. I definitely can attest to that. It's not like living in a regular apartment like usual, but it's something that as a grown up you take pride in. You take you're happy to be there. You make sure your grass is good. You make sure your plants are watered. You're doing a whole bunch of grown man stuff. And my dad, my dad was here one weekend, and I was like, Dad, I'll be right back. I gotta go water my plants. So then he made the joke. He was like, You remember when you were younger? You always used to joke me for watering my plants. Yeah, joke's on you now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, do you like that? Do you like Grant Holloway, the gardener?
No, not at all.
Yeah,
Them plants
yeah.
take too much water, and then I get my water bill, and now I'm really mad.
What was it? What was the impetus for you getting a house? Was it like, I'm a world champion, I need a house, or what was it? You're moving up, you're a pro.
Just a sense of security and just a sense of, I want to hold myself accountable to a lot of things. I don't think I would have been able to do what I wanted to do going forward in the future, living in an apartment. I don't feel like I was, I just wanted a sense of like, I wanted to grow up. I wanted to figure out ways to mature myself a little bit faster than others. Of course, it's not every day that you hear a 22-year-old is in a house. It's not every day that you see someone in a house. I guess right after a major championship. It's just one of the things. I wanted to grow up and mature faster than the normal person. So I took the time, looked forward, and I put my heart and my soul into this place.
Cool. Well, congratulations.
Appreciate it. Big,
Grant,
big love. Big love.
you got. Look at that. Oh man, he's chugging it. Boom. Is that, you just killed the wine?
You guys are hilarious.
You got more left. You got more.
You need to
more.
get a wine sponsorship for sure. You need to hook that up. Get your agent on that.
As soon as I get it, you guys will get it.
There you go. I'm excited. Or yeah, your own line. That'd be also cool.
That'll be great. Holloway. Oh man. Are you a red or a white? What's your?
I'm doing red Bordeaux right now. I do like white. I kind of faded away from white and switched over to red, but definitely like red.
Have you been in any good like vineyards, like tours or anything like that? I don't know, like especially like in
Florida. Well, not since Corona. Let me say that I have been to a wine tasting. I have got into a lot of different wines. Red Bordeaux, Shiraz, Marlot, Cabs, of course. But I haven't been to anything since this whole thing came upon us. It's kind of just you go to Total Wine. Your friend's working. He refers you to a section. You get his employee discount, and you pay and you walk out the store.
You gotta run it. Does Rome still have a Diamond League, or do they get? Yeah, they do, right? Does Rome have a Diamond League?
I think so.
You got the wrong person.
Yeah,
but you should go. You go when you go back overseas next year. You can do on your off day between Diamond Leagues. You can go tour like a European winery.
Vineyard.
As soon as I get there, you got to make sure you're there with me. Cheers.
Absolutely. Yeah. There you go. Well, Grant, thanks so much for joining us. I don't have anything else for you. We can let you get back to homeowner life or video games, whichever one you need to be on to next. We hope to see you out on the track this year if it's safe, and best of luck going forward, man. Indeed.
I got one last thing before we close. I ran like shit.
Perfect.